against the world.
Do it good.
Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me. It's Mike Lepre, King Mike L. This is Bar Fongool guy. This is our open sports forum podcast, meaning we're going to talk about a bunch of different sports. We're also at the bar, so some of us might be drinking. Hopefully we don't get too carried away. But when you think about getting carried away, you never think genius, Kev. What's up, Kev?
What's up, King? Having a very good week so far. Monday night was a great game. You know, I love those Cowboys. So that was cool to see, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the week. So,
I was shocked that the Eagles lost that game, Kev. I got to be honest. I mean, they're a powerhouse. How do you get beat like that when you're a powerhouse?
You're the king of the NFC East. If you didn't see it, then nobody saw it.
That's what I keep saying to people. No one listens. Speaking of listening, though, Kev, we bring in Brother Ray. Brother Ray, what's going on?
All I got to say is when the offensive line did the Landry shift, I was almost in tears. And I'm not even a Cowboys fan. But that was great.
Yeah.
You guys drinking tonight so far?
For sure.
Yeah.
I'll be drinking warm beer.
Little bells.
Well, Arnold Palmer with my metal straw from St. Thomas. Gotta save the planet.
So I'm living in a life where if I look out the window behind me, I can see a house where I used to live. And if I look out the window on the right of me, I can see a house that I'm going to start living in like tomorrow. So I'm in a really weird spot, I guess, in life, Kev. I don't know if you call it, a breakdown or something like that. Maybe someone's going to have to step in, do an intervention. I don't know what. Maybe an intervention on just podcasts and sports memorabilia. But we bring in Mastradamus M1. What's going on, Matt? How you doing tonight?
Doing great. There's nothing wrong with growing up on the street, living on the street you grew up on. That's great. It's where home is, man. I want to give hats off to the Dallas Cowboys. Congratulations, Kevin. I really think that we got to stop talking about the NFC East as being pushovers because the Cowboys are definitely not. They're a very good squad this year. They're not the same old boys. They're not.
Yeah. But they went against such a great opponent that, you can really tell how good they are now.
I'll tell you right now, it wasn't much about the opponent that, Jalen Hurts is definitely struggling. Fifth game, can't read defenses, but really, I don't ever want to say this team won because of that. You don't make excuses on why the team won. They did what they did, and they did it in great fashion.
They hung with the Chiefs. They beat the Chargers. They hung with the Bucs. They beat the Chargers. Chargers beat the Chiefs, so they can beat Philly. You guys know me. I'm going to be heartbroken when the season's over. When McCarthy does some stupid clock management call at the end of the game, and the whole season falls apart. But I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to ride high for a little while.
If there was one thing I could say about that not doing something right, he should have led CD a little bit longer on that first throw. And I would have been, I would have been right back on top of the mountain. I put like $50 on CD to be the first touchdown scored, so I cried a little bit right then.
All right, you gamblers, you degenerate gamblers, hold your water. It's Coach TJ. What's up, Coach? Hey, get your ass on TV.
What are you doing back there?
You picked the worst possible time. I was throwing the phone on the charger. Might as well make the most of the time. What's going on, guys? You lost.
What's up, Coach?
The intros lost me. It went like straight to point spreads, and I was like, "Oh, geez, we're not even gonna ease into the gambling anymore. We're just going right to it." But did everybody notice who had the most points week 3 in the fantasy league, though? That's the question.
No, I was just,
Yeah, I did.
all I did was look at the top of the standings for the undefeated teams. That's where I was looking.
I don't want to talk about points because my team's not doing much of that. I am third from the bottom in scoring. I don't want to talk about points.
I know we have a format, and I know guys have already talked about where we're going to stop, but I got to bring this up, right? I got to get it off my chest because it's bothering me. Kev, you're 0-3, right?
Yeah.
My team in the other league, which you prepped me for my draft, is 0-3. So, in my opinion, you're presently 0-6 with your draft genius philosophy of no running back.
Well, look, I can get
to turn it around. Is there a turn?
Look, TJ. Only
Hold
thing
on,
I can guarantee
Kevin, did your face just get as red as Brother Ray's shirt?
Yeah, but the only thing I can promise you as the undisputed, omnipotent commissioner of the legit league, no one else has that power. It's not like corrupted league where 3 or 4 people somehow have sneaky commissioner powers. I will be in the playoffs. That's the one thing I'm guaranteed.
You're going to guarantee the playoffs even though you're 0-3.
Well, I control. Do you know what the playoff format is yet?
Yeah, everybody makes it. That's the only way you're getting in.
Well,
Chips on the table? You're putting chips on the table? Is that it? That's what you're saying?
Oh, my goodness. It's what a disaster, this draft strategy of not having a running
Just
back.
wait. Don't worry about it yet, TJ. Like you went off the strategy. I stayed on it. I'm still not worried yet.
Yeah, I went off the strategy in this league, and hence is why I put a beat down on your ass because I had some actual running backs in the lineup. And oh my goodness gracious.
Coach, can I ask you who you have for running backs?
Me?
Yeah. Coach CJ, because honestly, right now, there's not a lot of running backs that are doing really much.
Oh, I have Eckler. Eckler scored a touchdown and actually gets the
He
ball.
did.
So
And he had some good receiving yards too.
I mean, I'm looking at like Michael Carter and Kenyon Drake and freaking Hines. Oh, it's just bad. It's just never again with this bull crap. Now give me a first round running back for the rest of my life.
I don't know, Kev.
I have Gordon and Tony Pollard. They didn't have bad weeks. Honestly, they did not have bad weeks. I got smoked. You put up a zillion points. What am I going to do? Like in the first week, Brother Ray put up a zillion points. It's a little bit of bad luck, but honestly, the playoff format is going to be 8 teams in, top 2 by record get a bye. The next 4 are by record. The last 2 are going to be the 2 highest scoring teams of the bottom 6 that don't make it. So like wild cards.
What week is the bye? What week we start in the playoffs? Which would be the bye week?
15.
All right, so I can take week 15 off fantasy wise because I'll be on bye. I'll stop planning my family vacation now for week 15. Kev, I wanted to go into something that we ended the last show with, where we were disgusted, and we made some statements how we could come up with some better team names, so movie names. So last week we went to the Rolling Stones 30 best sports movies. Rolling Stone, we decided, doesn't know their ass from a hole in the ground. Rolling Stone should just stick to music. Rolling Stone should shut the F up when it comes to sports movies. So I'm going to go through a list of sports movies. Here we go. I get nervous. Kev, you know what? And Ray, I get so angry before I do this sometimes, especially for this one. So I'm just going to name the movies from 30 to 1 really quick. No, the documentary, Tin Cup, Miracle, Chariot to Fire, Rudy, Blue Chips, Any Given Sunday, Bend It Like Beckham, The Bingo Long Traveling All-Stars and Motor Kings, Pele, Victory, The Big Lebowski, The Natural, The Wrestler, North Dallas 40, Endless Summer, Fat City, Murder Ball, Hoosiers, Pride of the Yankees, White Man Can't Jump, Friday Night Lights, Senna, When We Were Kings, Slapshot, Bull Durham, Caddyshack, Raging Bull, Bad News Bears, Rocky, and number 1 again, Hoop Dreams. Okay, who the hell knows? So that's their list of movies, the top 30 sports movies, right? There's so many of those movies that 1, I don't think are sports movies. 2, they're just not really good sports movies, right? So now, here's what we got so far. $1 Million Baby did not make that list. Cinderella Man did not make that list. Invictus, which is Matt Damon soccer movie, right? Oh, almost lost it. Then you got Rush, which is another race car movie. You got The Fighter, starring Mark Wahlberg. Then The Boxer. That was an I forget who starred in that. You got Moneyball, right? Moneyball was not on their list. Yeah. Then you got The Hurricane with Denzel Washington. Then you get 2 pool movies. If you're going to count Big Lebowski as a sports movie, because it's bowling, then let's count The Hustler and The Color of Money. Then you got Invincible, Mark Wahlberg, and you got Unbroken, that's a great World War II type sports movie. You got The Gridiron Gang, Days of Thunder, Ali, Field of Dreams. Maybe Field of Dreams would make the top 30. I don't know. The Basketball Diaries, The Blind Side, Southpaw, Major League, Trouble with the Curve, A League of Their Own, Remember the Titans, We Are Marshall, Kickboxer with Van Damme, Goon, which is a great sports movie, Seabiscuit, Legend of Bagger Vance, For the Love of the Game, Two for the Money, Hand of Stone, 42, The Replacements, Coach Carter, Grudge Match. That's 36 more movies.
The Natural? Did you mention The Natural?
Oh, yeah, it was one of my first ones.
All right.
It's on their list. The Natural's on their list. What I'm saying is those last bit of movies are ones that they did not even let make the list. Again, you got things like The Endless Summer, Big Lebowski. Kev?
I got 2 more. I don't think you said you went to the last one's fast. 8 Men Out, which is Black Sox. And nobody said this at all, I don't think, The Longest Yard, which is Burt Reynolds, the prison, the football game against the guards.
Sandlot.
And Brian's song.
Sandlot.
Brian's song's not on that list either.
Yeah, Brian's
song. Sandlot, Brian.
Yeah,
we can't
you mentioned the kickboxer, Bloodsport. Bloodsport was a classic. Bloodsport too.
All right, I have that as a kickboxer though. I have Van Damme listed as just doing that movie. Bloodsport is another one too, but I agree. But go ahead,
TJ.
Yeah, I mean, Mighty Ducks gets me every time. I could watch some Mighty Ducks. My kids throw that on. I'm not mad when they throw that one on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one.
Okay, we're now at like almost 40. And I'm willing to bet you if we take our 40 and we put them 1 for 1 with the other list, we could almost knock out that other list. They have such bad. The Bad News Bears is a great movie. It's not the 3rd best sports movie of all time. You couldn't sell that to me in a million years. Like you couldn't pitch it in any way. I can quote the Bad News Bears. If the movie comes on, I can actually say lines before they say it. I love Walter Matthau, one of my favorite old-time actors. But even I will tell you, that's not the 3rd best sports movie of all time. What is wrong with Rolling Stone, Ray? You were there when the magazine started. Has it always been like this?
It tells you something when, Hoop Dreams is number 1, right?
Yeah.
But I didn't hear them mention White Men Can't Jump.
They did.
Yeah. Did they?
Of course they did. Yeah.
Somebody I heard it.
It's 11.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, but come on, Hoop Dreams? There's no way. I mean, it is. I don't even know where they are anymore. Like, I don't know, like, what the angle of this magazine is anymore. Like, what? I mean, before they used to be Rebels. That's how they got their name. Now it's mayonnaise on white bread, boring. I don't know. Like, they don't hire experts. They just hire interns. People getting coffee for executives are writing articles, I guess.
That's a great quote. They don't hire experts. They hire interns.
I'm stealing that. That has a lot of applications right there. But that list doesn't even make sense. Like when I'm listening to you say that, it's not like they're going for like great acting performances or they're going for sappy sports stories. Like pick a lane, and then if you want to rank things in that lane, and I can at least read your list and be like, yeah, those movies, I don't like them. They're not for me, but they're all the same kind of sappy underdog story. Cool. But they just came out with a list that's just like, yeah, it's almost like they like were on Wikipedia. They were just scrolling a list and just dragging and dropping the ones that they wanted to throw in there with no rhyme or reason. That's what bothers me.
Caddyshack number 5. Caddyshack's a funny ass movie, but how is that a sports movie in the sense of like compared to like any of the ones that are after it? I mean, Cinderella Man was an incredible movie. That's another one of those movies that I love. Southpaw was a great movie with Jake Gyllenhaal, boxing movie. There's like The Hurricane was a great movie with Denzel Washington. Like those are just movies off the top of my head that are better sports movies than freaking Caddyshack. And even White Men Can't Jump at 11. What?
Try and watch Brian's song and not cry. Seriously, try and watch Brian's song and not cry.
Ray, the only movie
Caddyshack's going to be on there. Happy Gilmore should be in the top 5 because that thing was the Happy Gilmore is freaking hysterical, and it's going to go
There's
forward.
another.
So
Yes.
let's do that.
Because they got the Big Lebowski, first of all, in there. Should not be in there. It's at number 20, right? Shouldn't be in there as a sports movie. It could be in there as a stoner movie, as a dude type movie, but not a sports movie. And then I'll go one further. Blue Chips with Nick Nolte, Penny Hardaway, Shaq, and then some just average white guy that I don't know who he is. They were the main stars of that. I don't know who that guy is. Do you guys know? I don't know. I forgot. That movie should not be in the top 30 best sports movies of all time.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
So, Kev, what's wrong with Rolling Stone?
Well, I think brother right hit it. It's what is it? They hire they don't hire experts, hire interns. It's a bunch of people getting coffee for people that probably haven't watched a sports movie in a long time. Like, I don't get the fact Hoopers is number 1, which is documentary. There's only one other documentary on the list, so it's not like it's all documentaries, because if it was, you could reorder it. Like, I don't see the rhyme or reason to it. I think they don't really know sports. It's Rolling Stone. Why would we think they know sports?
I just don't like the way things get grouped. I really don't like the way people group stuff. Like, let's spin it a different way. Matt, you were in a band, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you like when they would label what type of music you were playing and tell you what type of music you were playing?
I couldn't stand it. But I'll be honest with you, it's like the Rolling Stone. And it's, speaking of bands, right? It's almost like once a band makes their name, they can put out whatever they want or they think they can, and it's just going to sell. That's Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone is absolutely just going, they'll buy the magazine. That's what they're doing.
Is there any bit of this, like, I almost want to call it the Mike Lepre factor, like they're just doing that to stir up people?
Absolutely. Well, that's the way of the world. It's clickbait, and it's more entertainment and get a reaction. That's what we see with all these sports shows. Yes.
Like they're getting precious Bar Fongool minutes. Tough to do, but they did it.
Somehow they did it. Somehow they did it. Now, guys, in case you guys don't know this, baseball is actually still playing right now.
What?
They're actually still playing Major League Baseball. Did you guys know that? Yeah, no, they really are. They're still playing Major League Baseball. And
this is the only time of the year I really enjoy baseball. Baseball's a very long, strenuous season, but everybody, I mean, even with hockey, I don't have time to watch the whole season. But once playoff hockey comes around, I tune in.
All right, so TJ, you're following baseball
right now. I am, yeah.
So
there was a time in my life where I would watch or listen to 162 Yankee games consecutively, like bar none. So if I was in the car, it's on the radio. If I wasn't in the car, it was on the TV. Now, maybe 2 seasons ago or a season or 2 ago, for some personal reasons, I decided that, the MLB is not going to get my $180 for the package. So if they want to be a bunch of commies, then they don't get my money. But
amen.
But this last month, the AL wildcard race is like baseball's perfect storm of what they needed, because you have 5 teams right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams going for 2 spots with 5 games left. There's like a 1 in a million chance that all those 5 teams could be tied. There's like a 4% chance that 4 of those teams could be tied. And we're almost insured, based on the way the matchups work, that we're going to have 2 sudden death games just to get to a sudden death game, which is like wild in baseball. And I got to say, unlike football and basketball, baseball is not a game developed for a one game set. It's just not. It's like it's built on percentages. It's like a super nerd thing. But what's happening right now is we had Yankees Red Sox over the weekend, and for the first time in like 2 years, I was like, I'm watching 3 baseball games. And it was cool. It was intense. It had a playoff environment, and it's good because if the game wants, and they got off all the stuff, they got off all the messaging and the little friggin' code words and the little icons and the flags and it's just baseball, and they did a great job of it over the weekend at Fenway, and that's the nicest thing I'll ever say about Fenway. But right now you got the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Mariners, and the Blue Jays, who are young and talented, and they're all going for 2 spots. It's a good time to tune in for the next weekend's going to be a blast. While you guys,
all right, so
football, baseball.
Tell tell us about this Yankees Red Sox race. Like, where are we in it?
Where are we? Right now, the Yankees are up 2 games, and that's because they went into Fenway and won 3 in a row with Giancarlo Stanton hitting balls. He hit one. The one he hit in game 1, it definitely left the building. It probably cleared the road behind the building and landed in the parking garage. The one he hit in game 3 probably didn't clear the road behind the building, but it cracked a car on its way by. That's how far he hit these things. There was an awesome meme on Facebook today about the Red Sox are going to renovate Fenway for Giancarlo Stanton, and they made you see it. You saw it, and they made the Green Monster like 78 miles high because that's how high he hit the balls. So yeah, it's been a battle all year. Boston was in the lead earlier, then they went through their little thing and they dropped, and New York rose up, and it's a good finish right now. The problem that you guys won't like, especially if you haven't been watching baseball for a while or don't do fantasy. These freaking pitchers can pitch 3 innings, the starting pitcher, come out of the game, and everybody's high-fiving them in the dugout. And it blows my mind. Like, they go into the game knowing you're only going to face every batter once, and then we're going to the bullpen.
The starters? Like a starting pitcher.
The Yankees starting pitcher last night got 1 out in the 3rd inning, and they took him out.
Okay.
And he was getting high-five. He wasn't getting beat around.
Like,
he had given up 2 hits, maybe a walk. I don't know.
But that's acceptable. Like, it's not like 6 innings, middle reliever, maybe another guy, then a closer. 3 is okay.
The best guys. There'll be 3 or 4 starts out of a 5-man rotation where you're not even thinking about the 5th inning for the guy that's out there. There are teams that'll pitch their starter 1 inning. They call him an opener. There's a couple teams that still do that. Where they pretty much come in and they're saying, we had a bullpen day today. Guy will pitch the 1st inning. New guy comes out for the 2nd inning. And it's really annoying.
Wait, an opener?
An opener. Not a starter. He's the opener. And they'll go bullpen for the whole game. They'll have a whole bullpen game.
But, like, how many pitchers do you have on the roster? Because isn't the roster still around 25, 26?
The Yankees are carrying 14. And the playoffs still carry 14. It's either 13 or 14.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not like it used to be. And I've been watching this awesome. ESPN did an awesome 4-part docuseries on the 80s Mets. Did anyone catch it?
Nope.
It's worth the watch because the 80s Mets were nuts. Like, those guys were cuckoo. Darryl Strawberry and Good and all those guys.
Yep.
But one thing you notice is when the games are ending, because they show a lot of, they got the highlights, right? So the Mets are winning. The guy who's throwing the pitches in the 9th inning is the guy who started the freaking game. And really, they don't do that anymore.
No, analytics have completely ruined baseball. Moneyball has ruined baseball because they'll send that one pitcher in. He could strike out the side and throw all strikes. And they're still going to take him out instead of, you know what? This guy's pitching pretty good. Screw the stats. Screw the metrics. Leave him in there. But that's not in baseball. They don't do that in baseball anymore.
Wait, did you say that a guy who started the game, pitched an inning, can come later back and come back into the game again?
No.
All right. I thought you said that. I'm like, what's going on now?
Like, in the 80s, good could pitch a complete game. Like, the guy who started the game, ended the game. Yeah.
Well, back in the day, you wanted to go the whole game, right? Pitchers, they took pride in the fact they could go deep into a game, 7, 8 innings, try to go 9, right? Wasn't that the goal?
Yes. The other night, one of the coolest things 2 weeks ago, maybe last week, maybe it was the week before, the Yankee manager comes out to take out Garrett Cole, and you can read his lips like clear as day. And he's like, I'm not coming out of the fucking game. And Booney turned around and went right back to the dugout. And, like, that's so rare in baseball. It let off like the baseball part of sports section because the guy was like, yeah, I'm not coming out in the 7th inning. I'm finishing the game because that's what I'm supposed to do. And back in the 80s, everyone finished a game. Now, never happens. And they say they have a number of reasons they do it, but the injuries are up now compared to how they were back then. So it doesn't even make sense. Yes. Yeah.
That's a confusing.
Billy Bean is to blame. He's to blame.
No, come on, right? When he started it, he like it was valuable and it made sense. It's like everything else. It's taken to extremes now, where now it doesn't make sense anymore because it's like it's all analytics. It's like football too is trying to go that way, but like if you go all analytics in any sport, you like take yourself out of the game flow, which actually matters. So I don't believe Billy Beane, but like what coach is describing sounds insane. Like being an opener sounds absolutely awful and kind of pathetic almost. I'm an opener.
You know what's crazy? Just to drive home the point, I just went to ESPN to look up the league leaders for complete games. And it's so rare that it's not even one of their 25 stats that they give you that you can sort by. Like you can sort by like random shit like war and whip, but you can't sort by complete games because the list would be like one guy with one and then everybody else listed alphabetically, like in the default position. It's crazy. And you know what bothers me about Billy Beane? Here's what bothers me about Billy Beane. They did that movie. Oh, Draft Day should have been on that list. Draft Day was a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
That was solid. Yeah, that was solid.
I didn't like it at first, but it grows on you. Billy Beane did that whole movie and wrote a whole book about Moneyball, right? And has you thinking that he created some kind of grand philosophy about taking pitches and walks. He had the 3 best friggin' pitchers in Major League Baseball that year, and he didn't even give them a line. Like, they're not even mentioned in the movie that they had Mulder and Zito going out there putting up zeros and zeros and zeros. And he's over here taking credit for Scott Hatteberg taking 25 walks. That movie is such a fraud in the way they play out how things actually were for that A's team. Oh, it bothers me so much. And Tejada, their best player, never walked in his life. He's not mentioned in the movie because he didn't fit the narrative, and he was the friggin' MVP. Bothers me.
Brad Pitt.
Right, guys, I gotta switch this over to something that I want to talk about. Coaches that should get fired in the NFL.
Oh,
Joe Judge.
So
my favorite topic.
I want to start it off with if I were the owner of the Giants, this is what I would do. This is what I'm speaking about for the Giants. You guys can talk about any coaches you want to talk about, but I'm going to talk about this one first. If I were the owner, if I was Mr. Mara, first off, I would step down from being the figurehead owner of the team because the game has long since passed me by, and I would let one of the younger guys do it and take over. I would then fire Gettleman, like Brother Ray would say. I would make him remove any clothing that has any giant symbol on it before he leaves the building. I don't care if he walks out in just his shoes. After I fired him, I would walk him down to Joe Judge's office. I would fire Joe Judge. I would fire everyone else that's anything to do with a coach. They would have to all go outside and stone Jason Garrett to death. Whoever was the one that I thought that landed the stone that really did kill Jason Garrett, I would probably bring him back. I would let Saquon Barkley walk. I would probably tell Daniel Jones he might have to walk too, as great as he is, because we're not going to be very good in the next couple of years, and we're just going to ruin your career. That's what it's going to be. So I would fire everyone in the Giants organization, from the owner all the way down to the guy who goes and gets the Gatorade. Mm-hmm. I would change the logo back to the old Giant symbol, make the helmet dark blue so it doesn't match the jersey color like it should be, and I would just go back and start over. I would literally do a reset on this whole team. I would reset everything, because if you're going to go 4 or 5 seasons in a row where you're like 0-5 to start off every year, then just change your name to the Jets, consolidate it with one team, and just quit. Like, if you're going to be that bad, just consolidate with the Jets and quit. But Joe Judge, I tried to root for you, man, but as an intelligent person, I watched you coach. You keep calling timeouts when you shouldn't. You're wasting our timeouts when you shouldn't. We had no timeouts left for that last drive. God forbid he ever considers a last final drive. And then he challenged something that you can't challenge a couple weeks ago. And then this challenge was so stupid. It's like, what are you doing? Why are you challenging stuff like that? We need these challenges and we need timeouts towards the end. Is there nobody that tells him, hey, coach, you might want to slow down with the timeouts? Call him at the end of the game. Because he's you know how he's wasting timeouts? Because his team can't get to the line fast enough. That's all coaching. It all comes down to coaching. When you keep saying, oh, but look at all the talent they got. Because I'll be the first to tell you, they're stacked. When you have all that talent, but you can't win a game because you keep making mistakes, that's the coach. That's really nobody else. So will they fire him during the season? No. Will they get rid of Jason Garrett in the season? I think that might happen. I think Joe Judge is going to watch. If they lose this week, Joe Judge will take away at least the play calls from him, right?
I'll tell you,
And
if they lose this week, they
again.
get a big problem because their schedule is no joke after this week. Like, they almost have to get this one because then it's Cowboys, Rams, Panthers, Chiefs, Raiders, Bucks. Like,
no, it gets worse. The whole season is horrible. They have the toughest
wins.
remaining schedules, and New Orleans is not. We're gonna look. The Giants have a real good chance here, being like 1-15, 16. Whatever. Maybe they'll be the first 0-17 team. I don't know. I just want the Bears to keep losing too. If that's what's going to happen this year, just please let the Bears keep losing along with this, because I don't know what else to do but fire Joe Judge. What do you guys think about firing of everybody in their organization by the end of the year? Matty?
I'm in agreement. To lose to the Atlanta Falcons is disheartening. We all had the G-men. I did kind of tread lightly on that. I felt like it was a kind of a scary game. I feel like Joe Judge, I called it early. He was losing control of the team in preseason, and not for nothing, there hasn't been many of the Belichick tree that has been successful. I think the best one out of all of them is Brian Flores. I'm sad for you, King. I know how you feel. I got a text message from you that you ran out and punched your tree. I told you don't do that, but I feel for you because it's got to be a very disheartening feeling. They got a lot of talent. There's no excuses. They added a lot of great pieces. It's not coming to fruition, and they just lost to the lowly Atlanta Falcons.
Ray, let me ask you this. As a professional coach, should he not know that the camera's going to go to him after certain plays and that he needs to stop dropping F-bombs the entire time that they show him on the screen? It's like if we hired Joe Pesci to be our head coach, right? Something goes wrong, you turn back to him, and he's like, fucking bullshit. I was like, and my son's going, wow, he's swearing a lot. I'm like, yeah, everybody can read his lips. Why, Ray? Does he not know?
A team it's kind of like training a dog. If you act like you're nervous and anxious and angry around a dog, the dog gets nervous because they can sense your body language and they react to that. A football team, a baseball team, a basketball team is no different. They end up reflecting the temperament and the personality of the coach. And how the coach handles themselves on the sideline is how the team will react in pressure situations. Bum Phillips, you guys remember Bum Phillips, Houston Oilers coach? He once talking about Don Shula said, hey, Don Shula can take his and beat yours, and he can take yours and beat his. Joe Judge can't do that. Joe Judge has plenty of talent on both sides of the ball. Danny Dimes is not the problem, and I've been calling for Joe Judge's head for a while now. He has to go. He is not ready for the NFL. I mean, yeah, he's got to stop with these sideline antics. It almost reminds me a little bit of Tony Sperano, rest in peace. But there's only so much of that you can take. Like this rah-rah attitude, you need that stoic coach that's going to control the energy of the team.
Kev?
Yeah, the only thing I'm going to add that hasn't really been brought up, because I agree with everything everyone said so far, is number one, the Giants run themselves like a family business. And until they change the culture and they turn it into something like an actual business where their like metrics are games won, and like they actually have things that they're tracking season to season and how they become a better team, nothing's going to change. And number two, there's a reason why special teams coaches don't become head coaches. Like everyone wants to say it's a third of the game. It's not a third of the game. It's usually 40% offense, 40% defense, 20% special teams. So if the offense is broken, how is Joe Judge going to fix it? If the defense is broken, how is Joe Judge going to fix it? You look at other coaches like Flores, Andy Reid, like they obviously have big impacts on one of those major sides of the ball, sometimes both. And I think there's a reason why special teams coaches don't become head coaches, and he bucked the trend. And I think he'll probably be the last one for a long time, because he's probably not going to get fired this year. Although they could start 0-9, because I looked at the schedule when Coach brought it up. They don't have an easy game all season, by the way. They have one easy game the entire season, and I think it's in week 17. So they could legit go 0-9, have the break, have the bye, then play the Bucks 0-10. If he doesn't get fired there, he's there for the duration.
All right. So before I give it to TJ, one thing though is they are playing the Eagles twice, right? Still, they didn't take those games.
They get the Eagles twice. They get the Bears.
They'll beat the Eagles. Coach, your thoughts about? No, they will. You know why? I'm gonna tell you right now why they're gonna beat the Eagles. You guys are shaking your heads no, but I'm gonna tell you why they're gonna lose to them. Because instead of getting the first pick overall, the Giants will beat the Eagles like once or twice, and then end up being like third or fourth, fifth, sixth pick. Because that's what'll happen. You guys are gonna know, and I'm going, yeah, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna be like, oh, we're gonna get the first pick. We're gonna get the first pick, and Nate Sudfeld will come back. Some crazy shit will happen. The hands will pop out, and it's over. Go ahead, Coach.
It's crazy. Bears fans and Giants fans are like, they say the exact same shit because that's how it would work out. Because you're not going to get the first pick. You're right, Mike. It's just not it's not in the cards. The problem with the Giants, outside of all the things that have already been said, your quarterback leads you in rushing, and that's not by design. It's because the kid's running for his life. He leads the Giants in rushing and rushing first downs. Like, they can't get Barkley going, and the quarterback is running around because he's going to get killed if he doesn't. So, like, it's just having a bad offensive line and a bad coaching staff is like the ultimate double whammy to get your quarterback killed. And
I don't mind him running, though. I don't mind him running.
Huh?
Let Dan run. No, I like Daniel running. I think Daniel Jones running is incredible.
It is, but you don't want your quarterback running around on a bad team. He's going to get killed. And worse than that, he might end up with he ends up with the yips. You lose your quarterback. Like, it's just a bad. The watching a Giants game looks like it just looks dysfunctional. Because I can go with Lamar Jackson running when you're running a design run. When Daniel Jones drops back and then bails and then just happens to get the first down because he survived that play, it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good.
I think they design a lot of plays to have Dan run.
Some do. Yeah, the design runs are cool, but it doesn't look good. Speaking of not looking good, you got to fire him. You got to fire the Bears coach too, because they're going to ruin this kid Fields. They're going to just ruin him. And I wanted him to start. I don't want him to start if that's what he's going to be doing. Like, let him sit then. Let Nick Foles go get his head broken. They were bad.
Well, why do they invite that in, though? Why as a coach do you invite in something like that? You draft a young quarterback, and then you don't start him in the beginning of the year. Right away, you're already under the microscope for that decision. And it never goes good. It never makes it look like you made the right decision to go with, the Red Rocket first. It just doesn't end up working out. It never works out when you do something like that. So why do they do it to begin with? Like, why draft Justin Fields and not play him?
Well, or you draft Justin Fields and you don't play him. But what they did was they got it wrong. And then when the kid goes in the game, I hate to say it, he's not ready. Like, you can blame the game plan all you want. He's not ready to play it. He's going to throw 20 interceptions if he plays the rest of the season. He is. That's a foregone conclusion. And he's going to take a lot of hits. So to me, as much as earlier in the year I said start him. Now I'm like, all right, this team's bad. Sit him. Like, let him learn what the hell he's doing, because he looked bad. And when he came in week 2, he ran for a touch. He didn't look good in week 2 either. So I'm not sold that the kid's ready to play right now, and I'm definitely not sold on the coach. Like, he's got to go.
Matty, your thoughts?
I'm not. I agree with about 50% of what Coach just said. I don't want him to be put out there if he's going to get killed and ruin his confidence, but it does come down to coaching. And I think the unorthodox style of Fields that he just wasn't ready for. I mean, they made Mitch Trubisky go to the playoffs twice. I think that right there, he should probably get MVP for doing that. Like, if you're going to put Justin Fields out there, what it shows me is they didn't have any game plan ready for that young man. That was just garbage out there. It all comes down to coaching right there with Justin Fields.
Yeah, but here's where I'm going to disagree with you, right? No matter what the game plan is, like, the kid threw for 68 yards. Like, I don't give a fuck if the JV coach from Johnston High School is out there calling plays. Just being in the NFL, you got to throw for more than 68 yards. So how much can you blame the coach when the quarterback throws for 68 yards and takes 9 sacks? He was 6 for 20. 6 for 20 is in this NFL is terrible. So to me, yeah, game plan sucked. Boom, boom, boom. I don't give a shit if my sister's calling plays. You're a quarterback in the NFL. You got to make more than 6 for 20 with 60 second yards. Like,
All right, brother Ray, you're shaking your head like a one of those dolls that just.
Now with that
the sun
offensive
makes you move.
line, he was sacked 9 times. He was hit 13 times. The poor kid, Nagy should be in jail. It is criminal what he did to that kid. Run more RPOs. You know Justin Fields is in the game. You know it's going to be limited. He's a rookie. Good coaches will design a game plan around his strengths. I didn't see one designed run for the kid. He had like 6 yards rushing. He runs a 4.4. This is all on Matt Nagy. He is a colossal moron. And he almost got the kid killed.
Yeah, he's sacks. Remember like 3 years ago when he was an offensive genius?
Oh, God.
Oh, my goodness.
Kev, let me ask you this, Kev. Kev, is it this just an isolated incident, or have you two noticed that this year young quarterbacks cannot read defenses?
No, so this is every year. Like, young quarterbacks can't read defenses. They can't read NFL defenses. Like, Fields was a one-read guy at Ohio State. That's what he did. And when he threw the ball, it was awesome. Since he was so talented, and his team was so talented, he could wait a while. In the NFL, if you wait a while, Myles Garrett, like, eats your lunch 4.5 times. And that's the way it goes. So, like, negative poor game plan. But here's the thing that I really want to bring up with this is, like, the pressure and everything. Like, Fields was obviously not ready. Coach just said, Coach is a Bears fan. I was all like, start him. He plays, he gets killed. Now, if Nagy started Foles in this game, everyone would have said, keep starting. You should have started Fields. Why would you draft him? You couldn't start him. Like, I don't understand why there's no, like, why Nagy can't just say, look, it's a project. He's a project. He's not going to be ready this year. We're not going to start him at all. And, like, that's that. Because he looked awful. And if he plays 2 more games like that, his head's going to be messed up. He's like, not going to grow. So they have a real problem there in how they use him. Because you got to view a rookie quarterback that you drafted in the first round as this tremendous asset. You got to do everything you can to protect that asset. Because if you lose that asset, the amount of capital you gave up is so huge, you don't get it back for years and years. And, like, the Bears have a chance of ruining this kid unless if I were them, I would start Foles next week. Or unless Nagy somehow figures it out and has a very field-specific game plan. If he doesn't, start Foles, because Foles is closer to Dalton than Fields is, and just run your normal plays.
And the Bears gave up a lot of picks. They gave a lot of picks up. The Bears gave up a lot of picks to the Giants for that. Like, that
kid's going to be worth it, though, guys. I disagree.
He could be.
This kid has the talent. They're wasting him.
He definitely could be, but he's definitely not ready right now.
All right, right.
Exactly, brother. That's what I'm saying. Like, they have to protect the asset. All the picks they gave up and everything right now, like what they did last week, damages the asset.
So
that's the way I look at it.
I'm saying, look at all of the young quarterbacks, like the guy, the paper boy from the Jets. They're all having a hard time with this move up to the pros. Like, what's the deal?
Here's the thing, though. I mean, you're talking about Saleh in New York. I mean, new coach. He's a rookie coach, and it's obvious he doesn't have his wits about him either. Okay, Nagy, when Dalton was in there, they were not much better. Okay, with Andy Dalton in there than what we saw from Justin Fields. I mean, Fields was atrocious, but Dalton was not much better. Matt Nagy's 2 seasons of 8-8. The problem is Matt Nagy. I mean, I have news for everybody out there, but Justin Fields is not the problem. Wilson is not the problem. Okay, the problem is these young quarterbacks. They're with teams that were not good last year. That's how these teams got these kids, and that's the way it goes. Peyton Manning started off really bad. Troy Aikman started off really bad. I mean, that's
Eli Manning.
the way it goes.
Eli Manning started off pretty bad.
Eli Manning, Steve Young. We can go on and on.
Yeah, you have to be very careful with it, though. Because like, you look at Zach Wilson, and Big Sue points out all the time. Zach Wilson has a bad play. He goes and sits on the sideline by himself. Mac Jones makes a bad throw. He and Josh McDaniels are going looking at formations and what went wrong and all that stuff. I think the Jets, the Jets have the wrong support system around them. Like, you have to treat these guys like the potentially $40 million a year assets that they are, and like not having, like, the Jets should have signed Alex Smith just to sit in the quarterback room with Wilson, instead of having three rookie or second-year players who never did anything around him. They should have signed a vet just to sit with him and tell him how to be a pro. Because now Wilson's trying to figure it all on his own in New York in a horrible organization with a media that, like, they're already booing him, like in a media that's going to tear him apart. Like, they have to be very careful.
Not to go back to the Bears, but after, all right, now your rookie quarterback, all that money, after the third sack, do you think as a head coach you would say, Jesus, that Myles Garrett's pretty good. Maybe we should give him some max protect. Maybe have a tight end chip on that side. Maybe a wide receiver, a running back. They didn't do any of that. No max protect. That kid got annihilated. Like, what coach would do that? It's just cruel. Like, why would you do that to your own player?
Cruel.
It is.
That's great.
All right. So basically, what other coaches you think are on the chopping block other than the Giants and the Bears coach? Matt?
Bob Kraft, and I'm looking at Bill Belichick without Tom Brady, and I've seen it. I actually bought the team because I was the biggest fan. I love my team. I love the Patriots. I brought 6 championships to New England. I'm very ecstatic about that. But also, who brought those 6 championships to me was my son, Tom Brady. And I wanted him so much that I denied Jimmy Garoppolo to be the successor. And I made my coach move on from Jimmy Garoppolo. So in return, my arrogant coach, who's so bitter, didn't surround Tom Brady with any tools. And Tom didn't want to stay there thrown to nobodies like he has almost his whole career. And basically tried to make him look like shit to the point where I would be right and Tom Brady would be gone. And now Tom Brady's thrown 61, 62 touchdowns in like 23 games, and I look really stupid. He wanted to stay till he was 45, have a bigger say in the matter of things, and my coach was so arrogant to the point where he just wanted to make sure I was remembered. And it was a power struggle. Bill wanted to be the reason. Tom also wanted to be the reason. And when you wouldn't surround me with talent, I went to Tampa Bay. There was only two teams that wanted me, Tennessee and Tampa Bay. Now everyone's telling me that Tampa Bay was this colossal giant. They weren't. They were not a colossal giant. Tom Brady went there. He did what he wanted to do, and he won a title without Bill. And right now, that is making Bill and Bob hurt big time. And the questions are not being answered, and they should be, because they're honest questions, and they have no answers. Bill is struggling, and he's doing the same thing. Like, well, if there's anything we can say, and I hate to say it, but they were making it very conservative for Mac. They were doing little plays to make sure that his rookie wasn't getting hurt. But, of course, the Saints defense exposed the one thing that I could say with the Patriots. They always protected the king. They always kept him upright. They protected him. He got hit a lot in that last game against the Saints, and he was exposed a little bit. But that's what you do with a rookie quarterback. Well, go ahead, King.
Are you saying to fire Bill Belichick?
100%. Absolutely.
I mean, I thought you were going to say Urban Meyer, because that's like the guy who's like looks over a match. I understand what you're saying. You do know there's no possible chance in hell that Bill Belichick gets fired, right?
Yes, there is.
No way.
Here's the thing about that. You're Kraft. It's your choice. If Kraft had chosen Brady over Belichick in this power struggle, then he would have fired Belichick, kept Brady, asked Brady who the coach should be, and done it that way. Instead, he chose to back Belichick. So that's why I think what you're saying is a bridge too far.
Ray, did you fire Belichick?
No. I mean, let's not overreact to one game, guys. Okay, let's not overreact. The Saints have a good defense. And Sean Payton really has Belichick's number. He coaches really well against Belichick, and he knows what works. I mean, that Saints defense is solid. They had a hiccup against Carolina. I don't know what happened in that game. Carolina is obviously a good, but this Saints defense is talented, and they did put pressure on the kid. you know what? They still are they still are weak in the wide receiver position. Running back has not been that great. Harris has flashed, but has not been the answer. Apparently, he's a big problem in pass protection. That's why White was on the field for most of the game, because White was a better pass protector than your number one running back, Harris. That's a problem. But still, I mean, there is still nobody better or nobody I would rather have in the game as a coach, and I'm a Dolphins fan, than Bill Belichick.
I agree.
And the other thing is their offensive line is not nearly as good as everyone expected. That's Master Thomas brought it up. Mac Jones is getting pressured way too much, and New Orleans exploited it, and the whole thing fell apart. Fell apart from there. But I would never move past Belichick. It would be amazing if Kraft did, to see how much other teams would pay to get him in the door. It would actually be amazing to see.
You know
Did
what?
you get my text?
Can I say this right now?
Go ahead.
The one team that he would go back to would be the Giants.
Agreed. I was going to leave really quick, but I'm going to wait 1 second.
Yep.
If he gets fired, if he were to leave the Patriots, I've been saying this now for 2-3 years, the Giants would not, they wouldn't even take a breath. They would sign Bill Belichick. And that's how fast they would sign Bill Belichick. The minute they heard there was any kind of problems, and Bill would love to come to a team with a bunch of young talent and a bunch of draft picks. He'd friggin' love it.
They might trade. They might make a trade, King.
Beware, though, Mike. Bill Belichick and draft picks are they're like oil and vinegar. He doesn't know what he's doing. This dude does not know how to evaluate.
The Giants have draft picks. The Giants have plenty of draft picks.
That's true. All right, so John,
be careful what you wish for, because one thing Bill Belichick cannot do is assess talent, and that is the power struggle that's in New England. He is capital over all the draft picks, and he has not been delivering with draft picks, and that's why this team is hurting. He cannot draft. He always is too cute.
They won 6 titles.
Brady won 5-11 in 2001, 0-2 before Brady took over. They were 1-3, and he cannot draft wide receivers. He gives no respect to wide receivers, all running backs, and that is the reason why Brady has left town. He said, "You're not going to give me." It doesn't matter, brother.
6 titles.
Okay, so there's
Tom Brady covered up all the warts, the mistakes, and the miscues, and now we're seeing them.
So there's certain positions you can't draft, like wide receivers. Like Pittsburgh can draft wide receivers and linebackers. Certain teams can draft certain positions. I don't know why. If I were Belichick, I would pay whatever it took to hire away the Pittsburgh wide receiver scout and bring him to New England, because Belichick cannot draft wide receivers. Like certain teams can draft certain things.
It's not even that. He doesn't value them. He thinks if you got a good quarterback, you'll be able to deliver it to the wideouts. But we've seen it with the offseason acquisitions. He paid Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne. Go out and save that money and get Corey Davis in there as a true number one. We've got number 2's playing as a number 1, number 2's playing as a number 3 playing as a number 2, and number 4 playing as number 3. That's not going to do it. It's just not going to happen. And now you've also
that just flamed out. It's not. Is it his fault?
No, Mac Jones isn't flaming out, and that, you said, it's just one game.
Wide receiver. I mean, he's got Harry. They drafted him in
No,
the first round.
there's been many more picks besides N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, both the Patriots, but I do want to say one thing that supports Master Thomas's case. Dimitroff and Brady, and Belichick obviously worked together. Dimitroff went to Atlanta. Dimitroff traded picks to get Julio Jones. He asked Belichick his opinion. Belichick was like, "I would never give up that many picks for a wide receiver." And Julio Jones is first round ballot Hall of Famer. Yeah. So anyway,
Julio Jones garbage. He's not good at assessing talent. He's just not.
There's one other team I want to talk about NFL-wise. I want to go to NBA quick, so we're running out of time. But the last team that I have starred on my index card of teams, the Steelers. What the heck is going on with Big Ben? He looks completely washed. And what I don't understand is I didn't hear this coming out of their training camp. He targeted Najee Harris 19 times the last game. A running back, 19 targets the last game. Something like big. Is it his arm? Is it just he's old? He looks like he's stumbling around out there. Is there any chance for the Steelers this season, or is it just a wash and we got to wait till 2022? Well, who wants to go first? Who's the Steelers guy?
I will. So the first thing is this. I'm watching them in week 2, right? It's the last play of the game. They're going to lose the game. And they go and get their ace wide receiver hurt on a friggin' crossing route.
Yeah.
I was watching the game diligently because I got the dude. He went over 100 yards, get bonus points to that. And then I got to miss him the next week because that's just stupidity. There really is stupidity. I will say this, though. I never count the Steelers out. Like, I feel like the Steelers find their way into the playoffs. It doesn't matter what's going on around them. I can't remember. When's the last time the Steelers didn't make the playoffs? Like, they find their way in. They got a couple, they got winnable games against Cincinnati always. I feel like they always find their way in the playoffs. So I'm not counting them out. I think they're a 9-10 win team. Somehow, some way, that's the way it works out.
All right. Brother Ray, you agree?
Yeah, you can't cut them out. They're in the same category as Baltimore. Like every year we're talking about how Baltimore's going to go down, and this is the year that Harbaugh gets his. It doesn't happen. Both those teams draft well. They draft to what they need. They have a certain type of player at each position. They get that player 1 round through 7 round, doesn't matter. They'll get a 6th rounder that becomes a starter. They know what the formula is. Roethlisberger does not look good. They showed him in training camp, and he had basically ice bags on both knees, on his shoulders. He looked like this giant ice mummy, okay? I don't understand why he's still playing, and they don't have much behind him. So if he does get injured, they're in trouble, but I think they'll figure out a way. They have too much talent, but they really miss Johnson, and that showed in this game because there was nobody that really stepped up. Schuster got injured too. That really hurt them. There was no go-to guy. That's why they kept dumping down at a running back. But yeah,
I can't believe you just put them in the same boat as Baltimore. And I'm sitting on the side of TJ, who told me I shouldn't be taking a quarterback so early in the 5th round. Lamar Jackson, he's got more passing yards in the air than he did in his MVP season. He's got more yards per carry than he did in his MVP season, and he's doing everything that the Ravens said they were going to do in the offseason. That they were going to do everything that they are doing. They're not in the same category. Baltimore is trending up.
No. What I'm talking about, not as a team right now. What I'm saying is their organizations.
Is that good? Gotcha. So Dwayne Haskins will be starting in the next 2 or 3 weeks. That's your new Pittsburgh starting quarterback right there. You can't keep putting Ben Roethlisberger out there looking the way he is, and you're gonna. I'm telling you right now. I'm Nostradamus, and I say take it to the bank.
Making it rain, Dwayne Haskins making it rain.
I traded for Deontay Johnson in a keeper league, and I regret it every day. Anyway, so all right, gentlemen. So wrapping up NFL, we're almost at the hour. I do want to hit a couple NBA things very quickly because we're almost at the hour. But we got a request. Just came in on the bat phone. Next Thursday night for Thursday Night Football, which is actually going to be a decent game. A suggestion was do a live Bar Fongool during the game. So we're all watching the game, just be in the Bar Fongool, like watching the game down at the bar, and run the show that way. So King and I will talk about it, see if you guys are interested. But it could be a lot of fun. It could be like the Manning brothers, but better. That's it.
What do you mean? Time out. What do you mean? What do you mean? What? You already got the Lepre brothers. What the heck are you talking about? We already got them beat.
Wow. Yeah.
Right?
Gee.
Already got them beat. Hey, Kev, before you do basketball, can I do a trade really quick that I want to? I did. I want to see your advice. All right. So, I like to do that ultimate autographs thing. So what they do is they break down the things, and you pick a thing, whatever. You pick a division. If the division gets pulled on the break, you win that thing. So what they do on Tuesdays is they have a thing called Trade In Tuesdays. All right. So I actually won 2 things on that show. I won a Clint Portis jersey, and then I won some sort of current Bears player that's a defensive player. I can't even name who he is. Right?
Portis, Denver or Redskins?
It was Redskins on a black Redskins. So I I asked them, I said, can I trade these in? Is that what the gimmick is? Is that what the whole deal is? And like, they don't usually do it on the show. So they're like, yeah, you can trade whatever you want. And I'm like, all right, trade them both in. Let's see what we got. So come to find out. So I ended up with 3 boxes instead of 2. One of them was worth 2 boxes. So I got to open 3 mystery boxes. Now, one of the breaks cost me $25. The other break cost me $30. That's the total of the 2 breaks, right? I ended up with, in the first box, a Marquise Hollywood Brown jersey, autographed Oklahoma, right? College jersey.
Did you drop it?
No, this is what I got. This is what I got back. With $25 of UA cash, meaning $25 of cash towards their breaks. So in that right there, I got my money back for the break, and I got the Hollywood Brown jersey. I got a Cortland Sutton Broncos jersey. So it's my second autographed jersey. Then in the third box, it's a 16x20 Mike Singletary photo signed. It's framed. It's freaking ridiculously beautiful. In $50 of UA cash. So I ended up with 2 jerseys, that gigantic Singletary thing signed, and $75 back for the next breaks. How was that not a good trade? Like, people are talking about it on the show because, like, they don't trade. No one wants to trade on that show. They win a thing and they're like, oh, I won. And they just leave it at there. I'm like, nah, fuck it. Let it roll. I made out like a bandit, in my opinion. You know what I mean? From Portis and some guy from the Bears to 2 jerseys, $75, and a big, gigantic Mike Singletary signed photo. So I just want to give you that trade. I was very happy with that.
But you would trade almost anything, though. If you were on the let's make a deal, you're always taking the door that's not. Yeah.
I'm that kind of guy.
You definitely hit it.
Yeah, I like to let it right, let it roll. Let's go. I want both of them. I want to see how many of the things I can win.
I think only the dogs would be safe, genius. Everybody else. Everyone else would be gone. Everybody.
So, 7 dogs. He's right. Go ahead,
all right, Keith, so we are at the hour mark. Can I ask 2 NBA questions, or do you guys want to wrap it
up? You can ask, but Matt wants to say something.
Oh, go ahead, Keith. He's muted. How is he always muted? I did not mute him.
I'm trying to mute him.
No, right. Kane won't stop muting me. Whenever he's there, he mutes me. So anyway, there's something that needs to be said, right? Orlando Usyk, he just upset Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
If you get an opportunity, watch that young man's boxing career. I know nothing about him. I love boxing. And this kid snuck up on me. 16-0, just went in the ring. He's 221 against a 240. This kid could beat anybody. He'll make Deontay Wilder look stupid. I think he could even beat Tyson Fury, who I love. This kid is a pure boxer. If you watch this kid, you watch his career, you will love him. He's unbelievable. I recommend you go and you watch his highlights. Watch his career. Matt, yes.
I'm a big boxing guy. Joshua, was somebody I was hoping was going to be. See, there's wind. I can hear wind. When I mute you, there's no wind. That's why I mute you. He just happened to face yet another guy that just went from the book of Andy Ruiz and just stayed right in front of him. Anthony Joshua is a gigantic boxer, a big dude, long arms. If you stand in the front and you trade punches with him, he does not like that. That's why Ruiz knocked him out also. So, like, is it that this kid's really that good? I just think it's mostly that
Andrew Ruiz is a very good counterpuncher, and I feel like Andrew Ruiz didn't. He got fat for that second fight. Andrew Ruiz is a great boxer. No, this kid Usyk is phenomenal. It's
the style they fight, man. It's the style they fight.
How the hell did they spell Alexander like that?
What?
First off, I don't think Joshua likes to get punched in his face more than most heavyweights, but I do believe Usyk has that knockout punch. He's got very fast hands. Right. Go take a look at his career, and you're gonna see what I mean. A lot of his knockouts are body shots.
All right, but that's my point. So I'm just trying to explain this. Anthony Joshua struggles with guys that stay in front of him, stay inside his shoulders, and will take a punch and return, right? He happened to fight 2 guys, even Ruiz and this kid he just lost to, aren't great boxers. But they were perfect for Joshua, to beat Joshua. What I'm just trying to say is the style of that was not right for Joshua. The only guy in the whole heavyweight division that can change his style is Tyson Fury. He's the only dude. If you want to box, he'll box. If he wants to lean on you, he can lean on you because he's got that ability. He's got quick hands as a big guy. These other guys are like, you know what their style is. If you can get inside to somebody like him, you have a chance of beating him. And Ruiz proved it.
You know how much I love Tyson Fury. This kid Usyk can beat Fury.
Yeah, it won't happen.
So what do we establish here? So
Fury weighs about 300 pounds, 290, 300. And I'm going to tell you right now, it would be an uphill climb for this kid Usyk because you're punching somebody at 221 to 300 pounds. It's probably he's going to absorb a lot. The thing is this kid can outbox anybody. He's a pure boxer.
So, Kev, my point is this: Anthony Joshua is long. I didn't unmute him. I'm trying to mute him. Anthony Joshua has long been called like the next great boxer. He was the one that was going to lead these like group of boxers up, and he keeps. This is his second defeat against somebody he should not have lost to, but because of the way that these two guys fight, yeah, he should have lost to them. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, but so how does it get reconciled? Like, so who's at the very top? Is it Fury and Wilder? Like, so how do these guys break through and fight?
It ruins boxing because what it did was it knocked down Anthony Joshua again, and it raised up someone else that's not going to withstand like the pressure cooker. You know what I'm trying to say? Like Anthony
Tyson
Joshua
Fury and Deontay Wilder fight in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The winner of that will most likely fight the winner of Usyk in the rematch for Joshua. I'm telling you right now, you are wrong. Usyk is to be reckoned with. He's not to be reckoned with. Go watch his highlights tonight, and we'll take this conversation.
I know who he is, Matt. When he fights Tyson Fury, he's not going to win that one.
Listen, he won the Muhammad. He won a tournament of the best heavyweights, and he earned his place. He is pound for pound the best heavyweight right now.
All right, but anyways, 221 pounds, so it's not a lot of pounds. All right, anyway.
He's a Vander Holyfield. He's a Vander Holyfield, but he's way better.
All right, gentlemen, so we were somehow going to NBA. We're at an hour and 6 minutes. I'm going to ask you questions only about two teams. I have like 8 written down. We're only gonna go with 2 teams, and I'm sorry, you guys know which one we have to start with. You guys know 76ers. You got Embiid's knee, you got Ben Simmons, and I don't understand Ben Simmons. He acts like he's done so much more than he has. Like the worst thing anyone could have ever done is give that kid a $200 million like contract and all the checks that followed. He walks around like you saw him on the street. You'd be like, "Wow, who's that tall guy with the weird hair?" And that would be it. And yet he's not going to show up at camp. He doesn't want to take their calls. Like he's destroying his trade value. Like if you're smart and you're a player, you call up Daryl Morey and you say, "Look, I don't care what the fuck. I'm never going to show up, but I'll say whatever you want me to say so you can trade me." Like, how does this all work out? Like, Brother ATJ, I know this is your team, but like,
you want to go first, ATJ?
Now you go first.
Sure. What's really painful is watching Doc emasculate himself by taking it back and saying, "You know what? We can make this work. Come on, Ben, come on down. We can make this work." After this kid is basically dragging him, Embiid, the team, like across Philly, like on the pavement, just dragging them and urinating on, basically walking at center court and urinating on the logo, on the Sixers logo. But we can take him back. If he steps in that arena, they will throw things at him. You think batteries were bad when they threw batteries at Veterans Stadium? He hasn't seen anything yet. I can't wait till they throw 9-volt batteries at this guy. He is going to get pummeled. Trade has to happen. I do like what Maury's doing because Maury's ignoring him. And he's like, "I will just fine you to oblivion. I will fine you to oblivion. You can sit on the bench. You can Instagram all your model girlfriends, and you can play PlayStation 5 and do whatever you want. But I'm not going to give in till I get something decent." And they will.
But he's got a 5. He's got a PS5.
I don't know. I don't even know what the
That's cool.
one is.
That's cool.
Hey, Kev, before TJ goes, tell me why Brother Ray doesn't let us say certain things, and then he turns around and says he hopes that they throw like gigantic batteries at the guy. How is he allowed to say that? Didn't he just say that he hopes that Ben Simmons gets pummeled by batteries? TJ, is that what you heard?
Said. So he said it all.
That's not what I said. I said he's probably going to get pummeled by 9-volt batteries.
You didn't say you hope?
I believe. I can't wait. I believe was the phrase. I can't wait for him to get pummeled. Here's the thing. Here's what annoys me about Simmons. Do you know how freaking brainwashed and desperate for a winner Sixers fans are to have defended this freaking kid and all his holes? And I've been on this podcast and others talking about how I don't even care that he can't shoot, and we defend him and we defend him. And listen, buddy, kiss my ass. Like, on behalf of every Sixer fan that there is, we defended you when we probably shouldn't have. You couldn't go make a dunk in game 4. See you later, right? See that contract? I hope he sits out a whole freaking year. Sit, go away. Go do a reality show. It doesn't matter. And here's what's going to happen. The NBA is going to demand that the Sixers find him and find him big, because the NBA cannot have a precedent where anybody who's got their freaking panties in a bunch can demand a trade and we just do what they say. Because Jimmy Butler did it in Minnesota. James Harden did it in Houston. No, they can't let him get away with this stuff. I hope he sits a whole year and doesn't play. And the funny thing is, if he doesn't play for a year, he's not going to work on his game. So he's going to be even worse. But I think cooler heads will prevail. There's going to be a team that loves his talent, and they're going to go ahead and get something for him. But my goodness, I hope they make him suffer. And you're right. He's going to have to come back to Philly at some point, whether it's in our uniform or another one. And when he does, I hope I'm freaking there.
Coach, so you said something that was like very interesting. You mentioned Simmons' contract, and then a little earlier, I think you mentioned talking about him on other podcasts. Now, we have a contract, so it's very interesting that you would talk about Ben Simmons on another podcast. I mean, we could probably table that till after the show, but
we could, but I don't know. I'm looking at my inbox and I don't see any checks. So you know what I mean? I don't know what the ratings are in the basketball show. But I'll say I defended Ben Simmons up and down for years and years and years. And
me too.
All he had to do is be, hey, listen, I didn't play well in the playoffs, but no. And Doc, you're right, Doc. That's how Doc is, though. Doc's the softest guy in the whole freaking world when push comes to shove. All this rah shit. He's a player's coach, and he's soft when it comes to this kind of stuff.
All right, so like what Doc's doing now reminds me of what Danny Ainge was doing with Kyrie. Oh yeah, we think we're gonna work it out when everybody knows it's not gonna happen. Like, I don't know how much you have to get paid to just lie like that and like just get played. But anyway,
if Kevin McHale doesn't pull that stupid trade with his buddy Danny Ainge and send Kevin Garnett over to Boston, Danny Ainge would not be there. He would never have been there for that long. So it's all predicated on me, like an inside trade that happened that should have never happened, and all of a sudden they get the big three, and now Danny Ainge is like, he's just genius. We all know Danny Ainge didn't know what he was doing. I felt like he didn't have a clue the whole time.
Like, just to be clear, Danny Ainge was never in the Genius Club, so don't worry about that. All right, moving on to the next team because we're way over. I do want to hit one Western Conference team. I'm not going to the Lakers. I'm going to the Warriors because we talk about them a lot on the show, and we all love James Wiseman, although everyone else in the world somehow in the media thinks he's terrible. They're going to get Clay back, supposedly. Obviously with the injuries, he's supposed to come back this year. But they didn't trade anything. Like, everything leading up to the draft was supposed to be they're going to trade Wiseman plus some combination of their 3 first-round picks. And they're going to try to build like this weird super team. Instead, they made no trades. They have Wiseman, they have the picks, they have Clay. They're going to have obviously Curry, who signed a max extension, Draymond. What do you guys think of them going into the season? I'm really curious because I really thought there was going to be a big shakeup in Oakland. Mastronomus.
I'm not the one to be talking basketball with. I'm not the biggest fan of basketball, but
All right, we'll go to King.
I will. Yep.
I'll step in for that. Then I'm not even really thinking much about the Warriors right now. Like that's how I feel. Like the Lakers like have an old school Harlem Globetrotters type team. They just got this bunch of old guys. They're gonna come out. They're gonna be, who's gonna play. You're not gonna want one guy from there fantasy wise. Not one. They're all gonna play their minutes. They're all gonna sit a bunch of games. If you're if you're a ticket owner for the Lakers, you don't know what you're going to see every time you show up for a game. You don't know who's playing. You're not going to know who are we going to see tonight? I don't know. They might sit so-and-so. They might rest so-and-so. There's going to be so much rest going on the Lakers with the old guys and the ice tubs. They probably brought in 10, 20 more ice tubs. They're just getting ready for this geriatric team to grind their way to championship, Kev. The Warriors are something
that never works. That never ever works. But what do you think about the Warriors?
I don't think much. That's my point. I'm not focused on them. TJ.
Coach.
It's all of them. All it does is come down to what's Clay going to look like. It's been a long time since Clay played basketball, like meaningful, actual basketball. It's got, what has he missed? 2 years? 3 years? We had the freaking Chinese year with the dome. He wasn't involved in that. We had last year. It's got to be 3 years that he didn't play. If he comes back and he's old man spot up shooter, which is my big concern that he's going to be JJ Redick. I really think who just retired. He just might not be able to do any of the other stuff. Then I don't think they're going to be very good. If he comes back and he's Klay Thompson and you have the best backcourt, you go back to having the best backcourt in the West, where young bouncy guys. I think Draymond stinks, but I know what his job is. I think he could be you can get a home round in the playoffs. I really do. I think if you have Steph and Clay being Steph and Clay, the sky's the limit. But we don't get younger in this world, and old guys who get hurt don't come back generally more athletic and better on defense than before they got hurt. So I have a lot of concerns, but it's all going to come down to him. Which is
why Brother Ray's going to go last, because he disputes all those claims. He's come back better, younger, faster, quicker. Look at him. Brother Ray, Golden State.
I mean, you know what? And I think Coach was right about that. If Clay comes back like Clay, I like the Warriors. I mean, they have the coaching. They have the chemistry. If he comes back and you add Wiseman as a nice young piece down low, that's something they never had when they won those titles, in previous years. Yeah, everybody's older. Yeah, Draymond, he can't score, and he doesn't do this, doesn't do that. But you know what? He's a gamer, and that mofo will dunk in the block. If you pass him the ball, he's not going to pass it out to the wing. He's going to dunk and go to the foul line. So I don't know. I kind of like Golden State if Clay comes back, and that's a big if. That is a gigantic if. That's the key to their season right now. But if you look at it like this, add this into the mix. I mean, the number one seed in the West last year was Utah. You got Denver. Denver was one of the favorites to win playoff series. This isn't the West of old. It's really not anymore. The balance of power has started to shift. I mean, you got an old Lakers team. You got Portland with two guys, one of them who's unhappy. Golden State can be very effective. And they have Wiggins there too. That's a whole different conversation for a different day. Mm-hmm. But at some point, I think the league is the guy's gonna play. I feel like the guy's gonna play these guys. So you add Wiggins to Clay and Steph. That's a good backcourt. And I don't give a shit how old Steph is. Ain't nobody can guard him at all in the whole league. So to me, they're a home seed unless Clay's a stiff. And I hope he's not. I really hope he's not.
Did you see who the Lakers signed last? They signed Monta Ellis.
No way.
No, wait. The reason I say that is Monta Ellis is the guy that we saw, Ray, at the game in Philadelphia where no one was as fast as him on the court. That guy could get open. He could go from this spot to that spot so much faster than anybody on defense. You knew he was going there. Didn't matter. Monta Ellis was so goddamn fast that when I watched that whole game, all I came away with was, oh my God, how fast is Monta Ellis from point to point? Ray, would you agree?
Yeah, in that game, no one on the Sixers could cover him, and he was like a blur. I mean, he really got any spot he wanted, and no one had an answer. And they had some good defensive players. They had Iggy at the time.
Like, there's no way he's trying to come back. He's trying to come back. Did you know that?
He's trying to come back. Yeah,
you knew that right now, Monta Ellis. You knew that.
Monta Ellis. No, he signed something with the Lakers. It was like a tryout signing.
Okay.
He's going to make the team.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you can look it up. My point is, though, Monta Ellis was one of those guys that, remember, I was just trying to describe how Booker is or how guys like that are. That was the first time I ever saw live somebody that was so fast that it didn't matter if you knew where he was going to go to here. You just couldn't catch it. You could not. They could not. I mean, dude, they had everybody try to cover him. They were waiting in the spot he was going to. What?
What year was this?
When Jesse got married, right? It was Jesse's.
All right.
Was it Jesse's bachelor
Kept
party?
like 3 score in 2 years, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. All right, gentlemen. So that was like a taste of the NBA. We have to figure out the NBA schedule since training camps are on, preseason game is going to start. And Brother Ray, in case you're concerned, I do not bet NBA preseason. I want to let it burn in a little bit.
That's not true. That is, you'll be betting NBA preseason.
I'll not be betting NBA preseason. Gentlemen,
also about the update on the shows, starting I think it's next week, Tuesday nights at 3:30 a.m. will be me and Coach TJ doing the WNBA breakdown.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I believe strongly that they, despite their lack of talent and ratings, should make as much as the men.
It froze you. Yeah.
Did I read that like a hostage video? Because that's how I wanted it to sound, like it was a hostage video.
Have you guys seen the commercial where it starts off with got drafted first pick, got all team first pick, all this, all that, and then it cuts to but they call her Ace, Candace Parker.
Yeah.
It's like, what? And then they did that thing that, have you seen the meme or whatever it is, where they compare LeBron and I think it's her, somebody like that, and it goes through the careers and points scored and
number of championships, and then best salary. I hate those things. I really, really
number of movies.
Yeah.
Number of movies. Number of cartoon characters killed, sacrificed, so you can live. All right, gentlemen. I think it's time to wrap up. Final words, Brother Ray.
I don't know, this kind of show. I mean, what else can you say? I mean, if anyone sat through this whole show, thank you. You are an amazing person, and you need mental help.
I thought it was a good show. How's this guy talking about? Hey, my closing thought: Space Jam 2 did not make either our list or that, and that's just
intentional.
Bad.
Intentional.
By the way, you should remember though. This is the vibe of the basketball shows. At the end of every one, we're like, thank whoever made it through. King, parting words.
Well, I did the wrestling show before this show from 7 to 8 with Joey Paranormal, and there's a lot of negative things to say about the state of wrestling. But the thing is this: we're here to be honest. We're not here to be fake or to be fakely happy. Like, oh yeah, everything's great. So if we end up trashing people, it's just because we think they need to be trashed. So in a show like this, I love it because bring on all sports. I'll trash anybody. I'll talk good about people, but I love trashing them.
I'll throw batteries at them.
That's the thing. I would never throw batteries, Kev. I want to be on record as saying that, and I don't approve of anybody throwing anything at the players.
Nope, that came from the top center.
Master Ramos, final words for this evening.
King is right. He will trash anybody. He just trashed the best pound for pound heavyweight champion in the world, Usyk. Go study. You said you know who he was. You don't. Go study his tapes.
Best heavyweight champ in the world, huh? Best pound for pound
right now. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, definitely. You're right. 100%.
Look, I'm going to mute you both. We're going to wrap it up. This is a Genius Kev. We are stumbling out of Bar Fongool. Drinks are spilled everywhere. Coach TJ's a mess. Brother Ray's still drinking. Master Ramos, He's in a cave somewhere. King Michael is moving his studio. But we're wrapping it up. We will be live tomorrow night to talk about the NFL this weekend, wrap up last weekend. Thank you all for joining, and we are out.
I'm sick of being fucking